While on a trip to Seattle, we visited a museum that holds a bunch of collections. This museum is definitely made for collectors, by collectors. Check it out. Where are we going today, Cass?
The Museum of Pop Culture.
Why are we going to the Museum of Pop Culture?
Because it's in Seattle.
While on vacation in Seattle, as you could see, we stopped at the Museum of Pop Culture, or Mopop, as it's nicknamed. To say it was great would be underselling it. It was absolutely fantastic. Mopop is a museum basically made for collectors, and we would guess by collectors. When you first walk into it, you see this giant guitar display, and that tells you what Mopop is all about. Each exhibit focuses on a different part of pop culture. They had an entire video game room, which looked at all different kind of video games over the generations. I know some of you out there will love that. We have a lot of video game fans on here. They had two specific music displays, and the displays were amazing. One was focused on the history of Jimi Hendrix, which included the famous guitar that he broke up. It included some of his luggage. It included the famous hat. It included some of his costumes he wore. It was amazing. Even if you're not a Jimi Hendrix fan, you will love the display. The second music display was the history of Nirvana, going all the way back to when the band first started, and they were handwriting t-shirts, and they were writing lyrics and writing their things to have people come to their concerts. All their promotions were handwritten and hung up. It was really cool to see the development of a band who started out as such a small, unknown band and became one of the biggest bands in the country ever. It was fantastic. They had a Barbie display. They had
so like what's hot in pop culture, they had Dorothy's dress from Wizard of Oz.
Right.
It was a whole section of kind of just different things in pop culture.
Yeah, it's something for everyone.
Yeah, they had Darth Vader's suit. They had, which I thought was really interesting, they had a cosplay costume. So it was from the video game Halo. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Halo. And it was the character Meowster Chief. So it was not the character straight from the video game, but was like personalized. So
it was someone made their own cosplay.
Yeah, and that was from 2023. So I thought it was so interesting how they had modern.
Do you know what it was from? What convention it was from?
Not the specific convention.
Yeah, but that's what it was. This museum was made for fans, right? So they had an entire area of science fiction stuff, which was absolutely loaded with the stuff that we love.
so many Star Wars stuff, props, original costumes.
Yeah, a lot of Star Wars
original
stuff.
set, because some of the scenes in Star Wars were stop motion.
The Death Star.
Yeah, and you don't even remember it like that because it looks so cool on the screen. Doctor Who stuff,
which was awesome. They had a whole bunch, like,
so cool
representation from all sci-fi, and we're big Doctor Who fans. Not something that we often see, including when we go to conventions and when we go to comic book shops. Not a lot of them carry Doctor Who stuff because it's more of an English show. It was nice to see Doctor Who represented in a museum of pop culture, side by side with things that are popular here, like
Star Trek,
Ghostbusters, Lord of the Rings. They had a couple of Batman things, including the infamous bat nipple suit. They had some of Riddler's gadgets from the movie. And they had so many different other movies represented. Every time we turned, we were like, oh my God, look at that, Planet of the Apes. Oh my God, look at that, Terminator. It was just, it's an amazing museum. It's like no other museum we've ever been in.
And then they also, in addition to having a sci-fi section, they did have a horror section, which unfortunately when we went was closed.
Oh, not good.
We were very sad that we couldn't see the horror section, but they additionally did have a fantasy section, which was so amazing to see because it represented movies, TV shows, card games. They had some Magic the Gathering, Godzilla cards.
Yep, we got to sit on a throne.
They had dark things from the movie The Dark Crystal, some of the puppets that were used.
Yeah, so there was a huge range in what the stuff was from. Some modern day stuff, some stuff from 40 years ago or so. Princess Bride. It was a great museum. To me, I see it as a collection. It's someone's collection being displayed, and I would think a lot of the stuff was loaned directly from collectors. And one of the reasons why we knew that we wanted to go there was because they actually had an exhibit that Cass wanted to see. But before we say that, we were trending too when we were there. Collector's Confessions was trending as a pop culture moment. But really, the reason why we went there was they had an entire feature that Cassidy wanted to see, and we were there on the last day of the exhibit. So
they had a huge Laika Studios exhibit that you actually had to pay extra to get into, in addition to the museum fee.
It was worth it.
It was definitely worth it. Me and my sister are huge fans of Coraline. It is one of our favorite movies.
So what is Laika? What is it?
So Laika
Studios, I say things wrong too,
is a stop motion animation film studio. So they have made Coraline, Paranorman, Missing Link, Kubo, and then the Box Trolls. They also are making a movie now that the trailer just released. I can't think of the name of that. But
Kubo? No. Was that was the one that takes place in
about a wolf?
Oh, Japan. What was that's
Kubo. I think.
Yeah, the stuff is cool to look at.
Coraline is obviously their most featured thing in the exhibit. So they had some of the puppets.
So we get to see all the stop motion stuff that they use from the different movies.
And the sets that they built. I mean, it's so amazing because when we see it on screen, it's so much smaller in real life because it's all stop motion. And
all of the stuff had its own room. So each of the movies, they weren't mixed together. There was a whole Coraline room, and then there was a whole
interactive
box
stuff,
room, and they got to
where you can make your own stop motion with taking pictures of your facial movements or using sort of like paper cutouts. It was amazing.
It was amazing. It was
and they also,
really good. It's like a behind the scenes look at how they make the movies.
Exhibit, they have the tallest stop motion puppet ever made, so we will show a picture of that.
And which movie was that from?
That is from I'm not
Kobo?
sure. Kubo, maybe?
Kubo? Yeah, I would think that's what it had the look of that. But it's amazing how they have to make these little miniature pieces. Like they have a whole entire house that they had to make into a miniature for stop motion, and they used the house over and over again. It was just...
I mean, in Paranorman, his hair is made out of over 200 little sticks.
The amount of time that goes into making a stop motion movie to me, it's always been amazing, but seeing it up close and seeing the actual, each facial expression has its own model. So Like they learned how to 3D print. So they would 3D print each one, and they would change the piece of the face here out to me. It was cool.
It's 24 frames per second, is how. So it would be 24 photos for 1 second. I mean,
think about how long a movie is and how long that takes to do.
So it was so cool to see the puppets and the sets and the small, tiny little props.
Yeah. This exhibit was just the icing on the cake for us there. It's really the reason why we found it originally, because Cassidy saw that it was there, and we said, oh, well, we have some time. You know, we did the normal things in Seattle. We went to the Needle. We looked around in the aquarium. We went down, if you saw our previous episode, we went into Pike's Market, where we were at the oldest comic book store ever. But this was like the highlight for everyone, because we were in Seattle with a bunch of our friends, and we were the only ones that actually got to the museum, and it was, to me, worth the trip alone to go to Pop Culture. I wish we had one like that here in New York.
It was so amazing. And we were on the last day of the Laika Studios.
Because I'm assuming at some point they do a comic book exhibit because it's pop culture. And
then we'll just have to go back there.
I would go back. It's a long flight, but it was, definitely worth it for this. It was amazing to see all of these props in one place. It was like a museum of my brain. So, like, looking inside my head, things I love and how I try to build my collection here. I need to clean it up a little bit.
It's not often in museums where I do stop and try and fully read the displays. We were in there for over 3 hours. We were in there for 3 hours in a museum. And it's not that big. We were stopping and reading the descriptions of each prop.
And taking pictures.
And we just really appreciate
stuff
it.
All right, you're doing a pop culture museum. Yes, I expect to see Star Wars. Yes, I expect to see the big blockbuster movies. But they had Mork's original outfit, which to me, we all stopped and like, oh my God, it's Mork's outfit. How, you wouldn't expect to see that in a museum, but it was really cool. I'm really glad we went to it.
They switch out collections, so this isn't even their full collection. I mean, they have more things. Obviously, you can't display everything at once.
No way. It's not big enough to do that. But just an amazing place. If you're ever in Seattle, highly recommend going to the Museum of Pop Culture, Mopop. Look it up online. Definitely worth it. Tell them that we sent you there.
Good for fans, collectors, kids. They had interactive stuff.
Music lovers. It really has something for everyone. Hopefully, if you go, the horror section is open. We were a little disappointed it wasn't. Maybe Mopop will invite us back. But thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. We have another episode coming up dealing with our trip to the West Coast. We visit some other comic shops, maybe. Thanks for watching. Love what you collect.
Collect what you love.
We'll see you next time.
We would be honored if you would join us.